The actual dudes.
I think he was. Oh yeah, he was. He was on the Gravedigger truck.
It's pretty cool. Guy still looks good. I mean, he doesn't have near the age on him that Hogan has. I'm sure there's a difference in age too, but
man, Hogan walking around with a cane after his
I know
back surgery.
Had to go with that leg drop. I remember him saying that somewhere, right?
Yeah.
He's like, if I had to do something different, the leg drop wouldn't have been my finish move. It's like, well, there you go.
Too hard on the body.
Yeah. Sure it is, too. Landing on your tailbone all the time.
Stone Cold did that, too, with the stunner.
Oh, yeah.
Always landing on the tailbone.
It's just like, what else? You know, the way he pulled off that move was always really kind of cool. You know, you do that kick and then turn around and.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, would something else have just as much, you know, punch to it?
Stone Cold Stunner was awesome, but if the person on the receiving end didn't sell it well, it didn't look good.
Yeah, they had to sell it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, like Scott Hall, he took a stunner and he just flew in the air backwards. It was awesome. Shane McMahon did. He took the stunner well too. Vince, not so much. He'd get stunned and just drop like a dead fish.
He's like, that's as far as I'm going.
Yeah.
I own the company.
You know who else did not take the stunner very well?
The Rock.
Our president, Donald Trump.
Oh.
It was awesome he agreed to do that, though.
Could you imagine if he agreed to do it and he was president?
That'd be awesome.
And he's, you know, I'm sure the whole time he's just like, are you sure? Yeah. Sell it.
Trump, I'm watching it now. Trump gets stunned and he sort of like stands there and just falls over then after he gets stunned. Pretty cool, though, that he agreed to do that.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that WrestleMania, that match? They called it the Battle of the Hair. It was the Battle of the Billionaires. Donald Trump and Vince, and whoever lost, they had to shave their head. So,
oh, wow.
So Vince chose the wrestler, you know, to represent him, and Trump did. And if their wrestler lost, then they had to get their hair shaved.
So the wrestler got their hair shaved?
No. Trump or Vince did.
Okay, so Trump didn't lose, obviously, right?
Right. That was WrestleMania 23. So you can go back. You have the network. You can go back and watch WrestleMania 23.
I think I canceled the network again.
What?
Yeah. I always get it during WrestleMania and then I cancel it. I don't even know if that makes any sense monetarily, but that's what I do.
Oh, well.
I'm just like, like halfway through, I'm just like, you know what? I don't need this anymore.
Yeah, because during WrestleMania, you're watching it with us.
Yeah, I'm always like,
you're in the chat, you're like, ooh.
Telling you some play-by-plays. You're just like, you don't have this. Seriously, I do.
Then I'm like, oh my god, he does.
He knows what's going on.
There was a lot of good. There was a lot of good lead up to that WrestleMania on Monday Night Raw with Trump. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty good. So it's cool that Trump agreed to do all that and even take some hits. Mm-hmm. Trump clotheslined Vince McMahon at one point. That was cool. So
taking bumps.
Yeah, taking bumps. You figured, this, you know, I didn't think Trump would at the time. I'm like, oh, he's, you know, billionaire. He's not going to do any of that, and he's not trained in wrestling or anything. So it's like he's not going to do anything. And sure enough, he was pretty good. So I give him credit on that. That's why I like him.
Seems like it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would get into it.
I mean, obviously, it's something you would, when you're doing it for the amount of time Hogan was doing it, you're hurting. But if it was something you could dabble in, it would be pretty. Obviously, you have to be good at it, but just to even pretend to do some of it, I'm sure would be cool.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Yeah, so I always found that pretty cool that he did that, and I don't follow politics at all. So, but when Trump was running, I was like, oh, that's awesome. But I guess a lot of people don't think that's awesome, but oh well. Anyway, so RC, man, last time we talked, you were going out to your INS 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you went.
Was that the last episode? Was our first indoor national race? Huh?
Yeah, it was coming up. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so we got through that event. We got Dakota Fenn was kind of our headliner driver there, and he ended up TQing and winning both classes, which wasn't easy. That is always a really difficult track there at Smack Track or Team Velocity RC, whatever they're calling it now. But it's always a good race there. We've had everybody come. Well, let's see. Well, Testman's never been there, and Cavalieri's has never been there. But of course, we had Mayfield and Tebow's been there, and now Dakota, Spencer. One time or another, a lot of the guys have been, and it's definitely not easy.
Yeah.
Small track, guys are fast that you don't. You have to track other guys are faster that aren't normally quite as fast as they are there. So big race, big moment for the driver to try to come in there and get the job done. And so so that was kind of Dakota's turn to try to turn it on and have a good event. And he did. Track was in pretty good shape. I raced 40 plus and two-wheel mod, so I ran my car.
Oh, wow.
We had a good overall team performance too. I mean, guys from top to bottom were doing so well there. And the other thing that was kind of big news during that race was AJ Marasco came from Florida here, and he won the 17.5 buggy and the 13.5 four-wheel.
Oh, wow.
So he's been on a good roll of winning races in those classes. And in this race, he had some really top shelf competition too in 17.5. So then we got Mason Fuller won the stadium truck class, and we had Kyle Gannon won the 40 plus two-wheel. Then Colton Kiefer, then me, then Al Horn got fourth. So that went pretty well. Jonathan Burkhalter won the open class. We experimented with an open two-wheel drive class, which is essentially guys that aren't 100% sponsored.
All right. So you can be 95% sponsored.
Well, there's some restrictions on it.
So there's guys out there that are not 100%. Wow, crazy.
Well, I would say the majority of the racers that are sponsored are not 100%.
Oh, okay. All right. If you say so.
Yeah, you can't, have that many. 100% drivers for sure.
Well, you can make them 100%, but just not. They can't travel. You don't pay for traveling.
Yeah, there's even a smaller group.
Yeah, I would
has travel.
Yeah, it's probably like just maybe 5.
Well, there's probably more than that, but
really?
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Back in the day, it was a really small number, but people thought it was a big number.
Yeah, I mean the amount of drivers out there that are 100% and their travel is paid for is pretty small. But I mean, you got to think that there's more manufacturers now, so you got that to consider.
Isn't that funny? There's more manufacturers now than there was back when it was like really blown up.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is knowledge and cost. Back then, the associates were in it. They got in it early. Team Losi got in it pretty early with Pops, and those guys had some money already. So. Like Associated, they had a partnership there with Gene and Roger, and those guys obviously had some money, and they worked intelligently with what they had, money wise, and I'm sure that's what the Losis did, and then there was Tamiya and Kyosho, and those are Japanese companies, but they'd been around longer than anybody, but didn't quite have the, in my opinion, as much tunnel vision focus on the racing as these other two guys or other two companies did. And then you got into that kind of was the 80s and in the 90s. And right at the tail end of the 90s is when Chinese manufacturing became so big in everything, but RC also. And then you had companies that got in kind of on the ground level of making RC products for other companies. And then they kind of learned for themselves how to build cars and parts and molded items to a high degree of technicality, I guess you could say. How parts needed to fit together, what materials you needed to use, all the stuff that the race companies were really good at or specific about. A lot of the Chinese manufacturers learned that. And now there's a lot more competitors in the game because of all that.
Okay.
So, some of the competitors that are in the business now, used to make products for some of the other manufacturers, and that's how they learned how to do it. So, and that's why there's so many, these days. And 8 scale probably has the most amount in racing of any company out there. Not that they all are profitable or they're all in good shape monetarily, but because of it, but doesn't mean they're not in the trying.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of really rolls us into Nitro Challenge in a way. We're out there and you look at how many tents there were out there of different cars and manufacturers. And if you just, I'm just kind of visualizing the pit area, but, we had Mugen is where I was near. Our container was near. So Mugen, then we had Kyosho, then we had a Gamma TLR.
Wow.
Then we had X-Ray. Then there was HB Racing, then Associated, then Techno. So right there, that's 8. That's 8 car manufacturers with tents set up with teams at that race. And I can't remember if I'm forgetting any. I believe that was it, though. Oh, no, JQ. Sorry. So 9. Making my way all the way around the circle of the pits there. Yeah, so JQ, that's 9. I'm trying to think if there was any others. I mean, there was probably a couple that weren't. Or did I say S-Works?
No,
I don't think so.
No,
that's 10. That's 10.
Wow.
So there was 10 car manufacturers out there, all trying to fight for customers and team drivers.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
So you wonder why it's easier to get sponsored and sometimes not deserving, because there's 10 manufacturers right there, all trying to do the same thing. So, it makes it really tough. So you think, if there's 1,000, I mean, just say for number's sake, you can sell 1,000 cars, right there, divided by 10, right?
I'm not good at math.
Yeah. So you divide them up. That's it's 100. If you divide it all equally, it's 100 cars per manufacturer. And it's not equal, which is, what everybody's fighting for. But so, say for argument's sake that the Mugen's the most popular, say they sell 500 and everyone else is, now there's only 500 to go around for everybody else, man. Right?
Yeah.
So now you got 20 for this guy, 30 for that guy. This guy gets 200, And so that's what's going on out there.
That's interesting.
And, back in the day, we'd go to a big race like that. I mean, just say, for instance, the Winter Champs, which is kind of coincidentally, essentially the Dirt Nitro Challenge stole the date of the Winter Champs. That was the same date as the Winter Champs used to be.
Oh, okay.
Was end of February. I can't remember if Winter Champs was the exact same weekend or the weekend after, but right around there. But the Winter Champs was the closest thing there probably was to the Dirt Nitro Challenge, but for 10 scale. And at that time, so it was Associated, Losi were the main two. Then Schumacher would come over, and for a brief period there was Traxxas.
Yeah, that's right.
So that was 4, and then who's the other one?
Watch.
I guess Kyosho technically.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just call it at the prime of that. There's probably 5, so half as many. Half as many manufacturers at a very similar type of event. So yeah, that was a kind of a big thing. So then you kind of, and each year I kind of do this. I kind of look around and kind of analyze, because I think there's the racer mentality and the mentality of the manufacturers coming in is they feel like they got to set up their tents in their pit area and kind of stake their claim of, all right, this is us, and we got our team drivers underneath the tent.
Mm-hmm.
And so you kind of, to me, I always kind of like look at all that stuff and just try to analyze where the business is sitting and at that event, and what does the health look like, and what are people's what's the excitement level, and what are people's expectations, and and how is that changing year to year? I think what I'm seeing on some of these Facebook posts from people is they're also some people are measuring their success out there based off of how many team drivers they got under their tent. I saw one of the guys from S-Works. They're like, well, it was just Cavalieri last year, the year before, and now this year we had a whole, we had a team of guys. It's like, all right, well, I don't really see that as a, okay, sure, you might have, 6 guys under the tent, and it was Cavalieri and somebody else the year before, but these are all guys that, like we talked about earlier, you're paying for all their product and your ship sending them to the race. right? So it doesn't really measure.
Yeah.
It's not really 100% measuring your success. All it's measuring is that you put up a tent and you had people to put underneath there, which maybe that's what they consider success. But yeah, that's what we saw out there. So kind of looking around, and these things kind of come and go. It seems like 1 year, one team looks like they're concentrating a little bit harder and trying to make a little bit of a different presence, and then the next year it kind of rotates to another different team, and who's just kind of complacent with what they have, and who looks a little more hungry, which I think that's the kind of stuff that I was kind of trying to measure is, who looks like they're just kind of treading water, who looks like they're, up and coming and are excited. And that's what I'm kind of looking at.
Sitting there with your binoculars.
Yeah. Taking dirt samples.
Like Belichick.
It was raining. There was one time we're out there in the rain, so that was a little like Belichick.
That's right.
So,
you did see my post.
I saw it. I think I forgot to like that one.
Yeah,
but
I think you did. Yeah, nobody likes it.
I normally will like a couple of your and Kirby's sports posts. Just show you that I'm there.
I appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. But yeah, you kind of look around the pits, and one thing that I noticed this year specifically is a lot of older guys at this race.
Well, we are getting older.
I know, but everybody at this race was getting old.
God damn, we're in our 40s now.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say, I don't know this for a fact, but I have to look it up. I want to say that the 40-plus class was the biggest class at the race.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, like I said, we're all turning in our 40s
We're all turning 40. But that goes back to this kind of racing where these cars are very expensive. So you either have, the whole program is really expensive. So you either have to be an older person that can afford it, or you have to be a parent supplying it to somebody young, right? Because if you're, somebody that's 15 years old can't buy one of these 8-scale cars unless, they're rich or whatever. So you have to either be an older person that can afford to pay for it, or you're buying it for somebody. So I guess that kind of shows, the age out there. So that was a little disappointing to look at, I guess. I mean, I'd walk into some of these pits and I was like, the whole pit area is over 40 guys. And it's like,
everybody here's old.
We were just at our, going back to our INS race, we were just there a couple weeks before, and I felt like there was a pretty good mix there of younger and older people. Like there was sort of a really young contingent of racers, kind of the beginner level, or, their parents got them into something less expensive. And then there was that generation that are coming on in their skills that are, in that 14 to 16 range. And then there's kind of that next group that are in their early 20s. And it seemed like there was a little bit more of a variety of age groups there. Mm-hmm. And then go to Nitro Challenge, and I'm like looking around, and I'm like, everybody here's old.
Well, I mean, like you said, I know when I was a kid and getting into RC cars, I saw 8-scale cars, but there was no way my parents were going to buy that for me. Mm-hmm. And it really, to be honest with you, 10-scale appealed to me more anyway. I just enjoyed it, and more people in my area were into it. So, but But now I love 8 scale. And I'm 46, see?
Yeah, and that's... I know a guy, Frosty St. Clair, used to say the older you get, the bigger the car you want to race.
You can see it going around the track. I don't know if I can see a 10 scale going around these tracks anymore.
He would be like, he's like, that's how you can explain fifth scale.
Yeah. I guess when you get in your 50s, 5th scale might be the thing I'd like now. I don't know.
You're just like, man,
I can see that.
I gotta get a 5th scale.
I can't see this damn 8 scale anymore.
You're like, not to mention a 10 scale. Tiny little things.
Yeah. I do like 8 scale. I love watching 8 scale.
Oh, the racing was awesome to watch.
It's great. And then I love strategy, the pit stops and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a great series of main events at this race. You know, one of the better ones in a while. Both 8-scale buggy and truggy were very competitive. Really cool to watch. Just good mains all the way around. We had to suffer one day. We had some weather where it rained most of the day, and that kind of set us back. Where the truggy main ended up being at 1 in.
Oof. That's right. I was like, I woke up in the morning and it was like Mayfield already won.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I text you right away. I'm like, what the hell time did you guys race?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, it stopped raining, right?
Yep.
And then they wanted to run.
Yeah, and
get the main in, I guess.
Well, they ran everything. They ran all the races
overnight.
Yeah.
Oh. So
I mean, that was the last race of the day. See you, Fred. That was the last race of that program, was the truggy main. So all the other ones happened before that, of that day. So they got the whole thing in. They didn't skip any mains.
Wow.
So it was cool, the fact that they did that. And that was, so the way the Nitro Challenge works is...
So that wasn't very, for us viewers on the YouTube, it wasn't very friendly.
No, it doesn't help because, you get your viewership going. It's prime time and it isn't exactly 1:30 in the morning, right? Yeah. So... But that's what they had to work with, and that's what we went with. Yeah. So,
okay.
So that day we ran e-buggy, which is a single 10-minute main, which is kind of like it either kind of goes your way or it just could go bad. And because you haven't been on the track forever, the race is only 10 minutes, and guys really go for it in e-buggy because they feel like, hey, there's nothing to lose. I mean, if they're not TQ anyway. So that one didn't really go our way because Dakota was TQ, and he took off in the main, and Ruona passed him, which was a nice pass. But then in the very next turn, basically Ungaro just T-boned Dakota off the track. And that gave Ruona a pretty nice lead. And for all intents and purposes, as long as he didn't make a mistake, it was over in the first couple turns. So then Mayfield got into second, and for a little while he was like, I think he was trying to catch David, but then he was like, well, the track was so bumpy and so wet that it was like, well, he could either give up second and just drop back in the pack trying to go for it, or just say, well, if David gives it away, I can get it. But he didn't. Ran a nice main. Mayfield got second, which, he was somewhat pleased with. He hadn't been running that great in e-buggy in qualifying. So in the main, he ran a good main, and he was satisfied, I guess, with a second at least, just in the 10-minute main. We got to the truggy main, 45 minutes, and that was a killer race. We just put that one on YouTube. Thomas recorded the whole video, or the whole main, and came out pretty well. And there are a lot of people saying that was one of the best races they'd ever seen between Mayfield and Dakota.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, people were pretty excited about how it went. And, me watching, both guys are racing for us is, I kind of, it's hard to pick a guy you're hoping that'll win, but you just kind of hope that they both
don't take each other out.
Yeah, somewhat clean, and that they didn't take each other out, and Mayfield was really strong in the main at Truggy, and he probably was a little quicker individual laps, but Dakota had a little more consistency. So it's like Mayfield would catch up to him, make a little bobble, something would happen. Dakota would have a nice little lead. Ryan would cut back into it. And then pretty soon, maybe about 10 minutes to go, it really heated up where Mayfield wasn't making the bobbles anymore. And then him and Dakota were just kind of going at it. And third was still a ways back. So they were, they were racing hard. Nice little aggressive inside moves and rubbing tires and passes where you're like, whoa, there goes a nice one. And then all of a sudden, somebody'd come right back with another pass. And so it was good to see. Good to see them doing, being able to do that at that level. So, but they did a amazing job. I kind of, there was part of me, everyone, I think they would, figure that, my favorite in that race was people would say it would be Mayfield, but I really kind of thought for a while that Dakota was making a statement, like that was going to be, like he was going to win that race. And with his consistency, he had some great focus. But I think what happened is Ryan's speed just eventually kind of wore him down a little bit. He was able to keep that pressure on, and he had great pit stops. Usually what happens is if Adam Drake doesn't make the main, he ends up pitting for Mayfield. And Adam didn't make the truck main, and he was amazing in the pits for Ryan. Probably the best pits I'd ever seen Ryan have. Just speed, consistency. He was making up at least 1 second per stop.
Wow.
I'd say just in the pits he was making up. And when they're racing that close, that was a lot. That meant a lot. So I'd say it was, I wouldn't say it was a picture perfect race for Ryan because he made some mistakes. There's others he hasn't made any mistakes. The Nationals last year in Thornhill, he didn't crash one time in 45 minutes and had pretty good pit stops there. But this race, I'd say like he made a few mistakes, especially being Truggy. Had a couple where he got up on the pipe and kind of rail slid, and I think maybe one legit crash or two. But his pits being so good and his speed being there, I think that's what kind of wore down and kind of allowed him to get that win. And he was happy because he was telling me, like, I can't remember if this was during the main day or the last round of qualifying. He's like blowing his car off, and I'm talking to him, and he's like, I'm not really feeling this track. He's like, I don't really feel like I have good connection with it. He's like, I feel like I'm just out there, but I'm not really I don't feel that connected to the track. He's like, I don't know. He's like, it's not feeling like it's going very good. And then starts the mains. He gets second in E-Buggy. Then he wins Truggy. And I'm like, it's like, hey, it looks like you're connecting a little better with the track now.
Right.
But, kind of like how he responds. He's just kind of like, yeah, I thought I was really sucking, but today it's going pretty good. And then we got to the next day for the nitro buggy mains, and he got in the lead again. And I was like, holy crap. I'm like, is he going to win both classes? But the buggy wasn't quite as easy for him as the truggy. I think he made a couple bobbles in truggy, but in buggy, he was making a few more mistakes. I mean, the track was really bumpy. I mean, everybody had their fair share of mistakes. I'd say David ended up winning. He had the least amount, but second through sixth, they were crashing, and below sixth, whew,
chaos.
It was chaos. It was chaos. Like, I mean, these guys are great drivers, and I heard Cavalieri telling somebody that he's just like, man, I don't think I've ever driven so bad in a race. He's like, and he's like, I felt like my stuff was good. He said, I felt like my cars were good. He's like, the track was so bumpy and wet. And he's like, I felt like one lap I'd go through a certain section. I felt great. And then the next lap I'd go right through the same section and be upside down. And I mean, and it wasn't just him. It was pretty much from sixth place down. Those guys were all over the place. And it wasn't, and they're awesome drivers. Some of the best. Or the best. I think there was only two guys missing at the race that I would consider, world level capability. And I mean, the race is just stacked with competition. But it was tough. It was brutal for people running that main. I remember Jimmy Babcock yelling at Spencer once during the race because Jimmy was running the race, and Spencer had crashed into the wrong part of the track, and Spencer's like trying to get back on the right side of the track and like trying to get his lap, and it was just a mess. Like, because the way he crashed, I think he was like going to miss his lap, so he still needed to try to get his lap. Otherwise, the computer wouldn't have counted him, and he would have been missing. So he was trying to get that, and trying to get back on the proper side of the track at the same time, and he's just all over the place. And Jimmy's kind of like not yelling at him, but kind of yelling at him, like, what are you doing? And he's, I'm sure he's just like, man, I'm just trying to get on the right side of the track and make sure I have the right laps that I need. But everybody from sixth place down was like that. It was brutal. Guys coming out of the pits. I mean, there's some guys coming out of the pits so fast. The way they had the pit lane set up is if you were like one of the first positions in pit lane, which if you're standing on the driver's stand all the way to the right, the guy would set your car down. You had the whole entire pit lane to get up, like your car's up to speed, and then you can jump off the end of pit lane into the exit. There was guys coming down that thing so fast, and that's kind of where I was standing, and it's like all of a sudden you'd hear this car and you're not exactly sure where it's coming from, and it just jumps right in front of you into the exit, and you're just like, holy cow. So yeah, it was a good main. David ended up kind of winning by a good margin. Mayfield kind of faded towards the end, and really he was in second pretty comfortably. And then he said that he got tied up coming into the pits a couple times, which he didn't give up second on that. He had a big gap, but everybody was getting closer. And then with maybe 7 minutes to go or less, it was like a cluster of cars together. It was like Ryan, Tebow, Dakota, Ungaro, and I can't remember if there was one other car, but it was at least those guys just I mean, they were all in the same part of the track. So they were battling hard. Mayfield ended up getting back in the second, and then it looked like, all right, he's going to get second. He's like entering, I don't know, I think it was like the second to last lap or so. He just kind of rolled in a kind of a flat section, and the turn marshals didn't see him. And he sat there for quite a while. Then Tebow got by. So Tebow got by him, and then Tebow got second, Ryan got third, Dakota got fourth. Looking at the lap times, though, Dakota had blazing laps. Like, the fastest guys were going was like, let me think about this. I want to say 39-second laps were really good. Was it 39s? Yeah, I think it was 39s. And Dakota had like 5 or more laps that were in the 38s. And I don't think anybody else had a 38-second lap, and he had like 5 of them. So he was cooking, but he was definitely making some mistakes. But like I said, everybody was crashing just the way the track was. It was beyond tough. So those guys battled it out. Did the awards at the end. So, I where I was standing, I walked towards the ramp to, say, give the guys a high five or whatever after
high five
the race. High five, give them a whatever after the race. And Mayfield's walking down. I'm trying to give him a high five. He's just like,
ugh.
He's like, you got to come see where I was standing on the driver's stand. I'm like, okay. He's like, just come up here and look.
All right.
So I follow him up the driver's stand ramp. He goes, okay, stand right here. This is where I was standing. Now try to come into pit lane. And I look, and it's where they built the handicap or the disabled portion for the driver's stand. It overhangs.
Oh.
And right where Ryan was standing, you actually couldn't see coming into the pits. It was kind of blind. It was like a blind, like he had to kind of turn in. Like I think he could make the turn in, like that wasn't blind, but like the next section of where your car had to be was blind. So what's typical, what happens is in these pit lanes is they're so pretty narrow that if you hit like one side of the car against the pipe, you kind of turn into the pipe. Like the Austin Powers thing?
Yeah.
Where you got the golf cart between the two walls.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what happens in pit lane because it's kind of narrow and you can't back up.
Right.
So like if you hit one side or another, the car will turn into that side. And then you kind of get pinned there, and you either have to jump the pipe, turn around, try to get back in pit lane, or you have to wait for a turn marshal to put you, kind of where you need to be. Mm. And so that's what he said happened to him is he's like, yeah, I come in. He's like, I see I turn in fine. And then he's like, then it would kind of block my vision, going the rest of the way. And he's like, I just wanted to show you that I'm not that hurting coming into the pits. He's like, that there was actually something kind of there. So I was like, okay, makes sense.
Yeah. Sounds it.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like the lap Ryan had where Tebow got back by him third. No, wait a second here. Third. So he's in second. Yeah, so he has a 45-second lap when he went from second to third. Which, you're, at this point of the race, you're doing a 39 or a 40. So he lost quite a bit of time there. But that's kind of what, and then he ended up getting third overall. So, but it was funny, come look at this. So then Dakota's fast lap. Yeah, let's just go through the top 5 here. So Ruona Falk's fast lap, 39.3. His top 10 laps, 39.7, which is good. consistency 96.1. So even him, this is for 45 minutes, 96.1 consistency is pretty good. So 39.3 hot lap, 39.8. Then you go to Jared, 39.2 hot lap, 39.5 top 10. So technically Jared actually had a little faster laps there. Mayfield was 39.5 fast lap, 39.7 top 10, which was actually comparable with the top two. Dakota's fast lap was a 38.8, and his top 10 was 39.3. So Dakota's top 10 average was the same as David's fast lap. But you go to the consistency here. We'll look at that. So that we got the fourth. Let's go to fifth just to kind of round out our top five. So Ungaro's fast lap 39.2, and his top 10 was 39.8. So a tick off. But in general, the top five guys, their average top 10, which I think is a pretty good screenshot of what you're capable of. Top 10, your 10 fastest laps out of, your 10 best laps out of 60 plus laps. It's a pretty good snapshot. So we'll go to consistency. So we got David was a 96.1, which was really good. Tebow, here's a 95.6. So right there you can see his consistency is down. Here's Mayfield's consistency, 94.5. So that is another tick down. And Dakota, let's see where this drop is, 94.4. Then you got Ungaro, was a 95.8 consistency. It's interesting. Adam Drake, 95% consistency. And then here's Ty Tessman, 7th. He's 95. Yao Figueredo, 9. So there's the big drop off. From 7th to 8th went from between first place at a 96% consistency rate, which was David, to Ty Tessman in 7th, which was a 95% consistency rate. So between the top 7, they're all fairly consistent. Then you go to Yao, which that was a big drop, 3% lower. Then Tanner Denny and Spencer was a 93. Barofalo, 85, which he flamed out, so that's why his was so low. Seth Van Dalen, 91. Cavallari, 91. So you can see how that consistency hurts. Just to kind of compare here, so we got a 96% average for Buggy. Let's see what Mayfield was in Truggy. My guess is it's a little bit higher. Truggy's a little easier to drive, I guess, on that kind of track. Let's check this out. 1:13 a.m. it finished, it says. Oh, so he finished with a 96.4 consistency in Truggy. Truggy was faster on this track too, of course, because of the bumps. Dakota was 96.2. Ungaro 95. So in general, some similar consistency rates here.
Man, where are you getting those numbers, bro?
Live RC.
Oh, they break it down. Wow, they go deep,
yeah.
huh?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good information here. I mean, if you just look at the first screen, you got let's say fastest lap, average top 5, average top 10, average top 15, top 3 consecutive, standard deviation, and inconsistency. So on one bar, you can see all those numbers, which is really cool. I mean, it really gives people an idea of where I lost, right? It's like, all right, well, what did me in? Well, right here. 50% consistency rate. That's what you did.
Go. It's not going to get it done.
No, 50%. It's pretty. I mean, when you go to, and this is, we're talking 96%. Saying that this is accurate, assuming this is accurate, we're talking about an 8-scale buggy race on some of the most demanding conditions, bumpy circuit, real bumpy, 96%. So we'll go, as a comparison here, the guy that won intermediate pro nitro buggy. Now, so this is a jump down in speed. We just said that Ruona Falk's fastest lap was 39.3 in the pro main. The guy that won intermediate, his fastest lap was 41. So Ruona Falk was 2 seconds faster on his fast lap than the guy that won this class, and he was more consistent. Like going to third place in this class, they were already at a 91% consistency rate, which to get to 91 in the pro main, we had to go all the way past 8th place. So you can see the consistency of the pro drivers, not to mention they're over a second, if not 2 seconds a lap faster. So to take this another step, we can go to the sportsman main. That was just intermediate. Sportsman, their fastest lap for the winner was 43 seconds and a 92% consistency rate. So they're another 2 seconds a lap slower than intermediate and 3% off on consistency. So now compared to a pro to a sportsman lap time is 5 seconds a lap, 4 seconds, almost 5 seconds a lap. So let's call it 4. And going to second place in the sportsman, it is a legit 5 seconds a lap. Quite a bit.
I'm still trying to find this. Actually,
well, what you got to do is you go to Live RC. You go to Live RC. There's like just it's kind of a ton of BS to get to this. I'm always kind of on Brandon's ass how hard this is to get to. But yeah. So you go to liverc.com. Then there's a tab on the header that says live. Right?
Yep, I got that.
You click on live. Then you go into, it says track list at the top, right?
Okay.
Click in the search box, just type Nitro. And then the very first event is Dirt Nitro Challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first event. So you scroll down a little bit to Race 52, 1/8 Pro Nitro Buggy A Main.
Oh, okay.
And you click on that, and then there's your stats.
Yeah. Yeah, Brandon, we need to make this a little easier for guys like me. I'm sure everybody else.
I would say, probably in his defense, he'd probably tell you that there's an easier way to get there, but this is the way I always do it. So, and it's like I'm probably like 2 extra steps, but this is the way I always know how to do it.
Need an app. Live RC app. Come on, Brandon.
I think he does actually. I think there is an app, or if you just type on your phone, if you type mobile.liverc.
Yeah, I know. I don't like doing that though.
That one goes right to.
I just want a little app in the corner where I could just click on that and get notifications on that app and stuff like that. Let's see. So you say there is one now? Or you're not certain? Let's type it in and find out.
I think there is an app. I don't ever use it because I just type it in. I just type mobile.live.
I don't see an app, but in the App Store. Unless it's on iPhone only.
You're not on iPhone anymore?
No, sir. Note 9, baby.
And you changed phones more than, pick something.
I had to go back to my Note series because I love using the pen all the time. So
you're a pen guy, man.
I am.
Love that pen.
Love it. Yeah, I don't see an app here, but okay. Yeah, I have it all in front of me here. This is pretty cool. Break down a lot of stuff so I can click on, yeah, here we go. View laps under like Mayfield here.
Yep.
There we go. All these, man.
Yeah, so it shows you all of his lap times from the beginning of the race to the end.
Standard deviation.
Yep.
Consistency. Wow.
That's cool.
These numbers are pretty useful for Mayfield, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we look at these after every race and kind of see where you're at.
I got a little lap chart.
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny is Dakota comes off the driver's stand in Truggy. And this will tell you how smart these drivers are. And he, I go up to him, kind of do the same thing we were talking about earlier, give him the high five or whatever.
High five.
And he's like, I thought I ran a pretty good race. He's like, I didn't think I was as fast as Mayfield. He's like, but I thought I was a little more consistent, and that's what was kind of keeping me up front for so long.
Jeez.
And I was like, did somebody tell you that, like over the headset? He's like, no, that's just kind of what it felt like. And I was like, well, if you look at the lap times, that's exactly what the lap times say.
Jeez.
And it's true. Like it's 100% true. Like if you look at the lap times, Mayfield was a little bit faster individual lap, and Dakota really I think up until the end, he was definitely the more consistent. But it's kind of interesting.
Wow, that's some great info there.
Yeah, and some of these numbers, I mean, they tell the story. I mean, if you're racing, the only thing it doesn't truly tell the story for is typically the leader of any race can be a little bit less aggressive. So I would tend to think that there are times where if you're checked out, the leader's checked out, like in Ruona Folk's case, in Buggy, where he had a big lead, some of his numbers are probably a touch slower than they could be because he doesn't have to push it.
Yeah.
But that might be helping his consistency too. So I think usually what happens when the track is bumpy or tough to be consistent on, if you can get a lead and you get a gap to the point where the other guy has to push too hard, your gap just grows because you just you can put down a few faster laps, but over the long haul, it's hard to make up that big of a deficit without making that other major mistake. So that the guy controlling the race, which is the leader, that's where he or the driver has the ultimate control because he can kind of listen for where that other guy's gap is, and you can say, all right, well, I got a 12-second lead here that I'm working with, and I don't have to go for it. Mm-hmm. Like I don't have to do my very fast lap every time. I just have to be good and somewhat solid. And then what happens is the guy has to push in second, and then all of a sudden you see that if that gap goes to 15 seconds, then you're going, all right, I got him. He can't make that up without me just completely blowing it 3 times. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of strategy goes into play. Now you start to make the track where it's more consistent, where you can do the same laps over and over again, pushing very hard. Now you could catch somebody, I think, a little easier because that big mistake isn't quite haunting you near as much.
Man, I'm on something pretty interesting. Did you see this thing on here on Live RC, the industry analytics?
Yep.
They're using.
We can talk about a little bit that too.
They're using their lifetime scoring to get some stats here from February 19th through February 25th, and they give you active tracks, unique racers, total entries. Wow, this is interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is something they just started kind of downloading, I think.
This is really useful information.
It is. It gives you some trending.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some people have a gut feeling about these things. and other people, look at these numbers, but
damn, on road.
I think there is a couple things here too that you got to consider is, and of course, what am I trying to say?
Well, it depends if the tracks have live RC.
Correct. That was what I was trying to say. was if you have
lifetime scoring.
Yeah, if you have more racing that where none of this, you're not using this, then it's not being counted for. But yeah, this is good. I mean, it gives you sort of
it's pretty cool.
It gives you an idea of what's going on. But if you look at this very top thing, entries by category, it shows you that over half is 10 scale off-road.
Right. 53.3.
Yeah, over half of all the racing is 10 scale off-road. And then red is 8 scale off-road, which is 10%. 10.5%. But this is another situation for nitro where there's more outdoor tracks. And I would say that in general, this is where the number was probably hurting the most for nitro because, outdoor tracks might be, further out in the woods and they don't have live time or no internet, right? So they might not be wired in with internet. So I would say that in general, of all these numbers, I would say the 8 scale one probably is the least accurate. And I'd say the 10 scale is on road is probably the most accurate because they probably, almost all the tracks are probably, well, a large percentage are probably. This 10 scale off road, that's probably, pretty accurate.
Pretty close.
But you go here, dirt oval 10.7%. But look at here. If you're going to put any weight at all behind these numbers, nitro 8 scale off road is 10.5% and dirt oval 10.7. You know what I mean? So according to this, dirt oval is just as popular as nitro 8 scale. That's a big number.
This was from the 19th through the 25th.
Mm-hmm.
So we had 1,301 entries in dirt oval and 1,276 nitro.
And 6,500 in 10 scale off road. And like as we were talking about earlier, looking around the pits, right? So, and this goes hand in hand. So you go around the pits and at the Nitro Challenge, and there's 10 different manufacturers fighting for 10.5% of the racers.
Wow.
So, and then you think about another way is you got 53% of the racers are running 10 scale off-road buggy, and which is the most popular category. And you think about what's the most popular two-wheel buggy, probably the Associated. That's the number that they're seeing, right? They're seeing our most popular vehicle in the most popular category is great because that's yields us the most amount of numbers. On-road electric being 12.6%, I would say that I'm not surprised, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a time like in the late 90s, early 2000s, where I bet you that was almost as high as the 10 scale off-road. Yep. That category was rocking so hard back then. If you think they were at 50 at one time and now they're 12, that's a pretty big decrease. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised at one time that this 10 scale off road was like 30 something, and like on road was like 30 something.
Even oval back then was way bigger. Now it's at 8.9.
Yeah. Dirt oval, bigger than paved oval. Most popular oval category, modified sprint. Most popular 10 scale. Most popular class in two-wheel off-road, stock buggy. What's weird here is that's two-wheel modified truck. Two-wheel modified.
What's other?
Let's see. Maybe that's like a combination of every other little, maybe somebody races minis or they race like, the truck class, four-wheel drive truck or something. So it's like anything else you can think of, which is kind of a big number here. In this situation, it's a big number. I don't know what this other actually means because, like, you go up into the oval category, it's 907. So it's like it's a little varies quite a bit. Like in the on-road category here, you go down to other. Maybe it has to do with some racing that's done that isn't labeled or something. Novice classes, maybe.
Because look at off-road nitro 8 scale, other 2.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Analytics. Mm-hmm. I know Belichick does not like analytics, so.
Well, there's the people that say that, there's what is it, like in baseball, there's the old school guys, and then there's the people that just want to look at the numbers. They want to build the team by the numbers.
That's what the Cleveland Browns do. They're strictly analytics.
Mm-hmm. But there's a feel, right? There's what the numbers. So there's some things the numbers can't tell you. There's a feel, but I'm sure that people
can't measure heart.
Yeah,
sir.
But the car doesn't have a heart, right?
Oh, I meant the driver.
Oh, yeah. Well, if this was for drivers,
I don't see no passion percentage here.
Yeah,
consistency, but no passion.
See up here, Associated Electric since 1965. That's a pretty big number.
Anyway.
No, but this is the stuff that leads to everything. So it is cool and important.
It's good to have that info.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and so that takes us through that main. What do we got coming up? Let's look at the race calendar.
Who'd you send out to Motorama?
Fred and AJ were there. That was another good event.
That's what I heard.
Dirt Oval was big, 260 entries for the second year. They've only had it 2 years. They had 260, which was pretty much a max turnout there. I think they were trying to limit it at about 250. So I think the 8 scale side went well. We had some good results. Cole Tollard won e-buggy and e-truggy. So kind of swept the two major classes there. And then on the dirt oval side, Justin Draymire won sprint, and then Max won late model. And I think he won Midwest too, if I remember correctly. Who did well too is AJ. He went up and he took our my older car that we'd been using at a couple of events, and he turned that thing into a great race for himself. I think he qualified in the D main, but he bumped all the way up. Into the A main. He won the D main.
Damn.
Either it was the D or the C, I can't remember. But
either way.
He won the mains all the way up to the A, and then I think he got 6th in the A. So he had a great race.
Damn. So
they were using our controlled tire there, the sprinters on all the vehicles, the buggies, the sprint cars, the late models. Midwest, and then any of the short course type classes were using our tire as well. So it's a great race for us to have our tire out there, and did really well.
Where'd they do the oval race at in Motorama? In the small arena?
I honestly don't know. I'm not 100% sure where it was, just
because they got rid of the 10 scale track, right?
Yeah, they didn't run 10 scale this year.
And they used to always have that oval race at Bumps and Jumps at the same time as Motorama. So I guess they moved it over there now.
Okay, yeah.
February Freeze, I think they called it.
Okay.
I don't know what they call this one, but...
Yeah, I think they were calling this like the Northeast Championship or something. Hold on a second, I'll be right back.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So we were going over that event schedule. Another thing we did while we were at Nitro Challenge is Rich went to the Ultimate Scale Truck Expo.
Oh.
So that was a big event, huge, for scale trucks. And we debuted a couple new items out there at that event, a couple new tires for scale crawler trucks. Got a few things we didn't quite get finished in time to bring over there, but they're really close behind that. And so Rich went there. He made a video that's up. Got a lot of good photos. The scenery just looks amazing. The event keeps landing on Nitro Challenge, so I haven't been able to get to it. But the scenery, I'll send a couple photos that you can use. But it looks great. Then this weekend, got the Super Cup. That's all the way down in South Florida at Mills Pond. So long drive, good track. Then we got, which is next week, the Desert Classic in Arizona. So we're going to have a good crew there. Spencer will be running, Mayfield, Dakota, a lot of other our team guys. So excited about seeing how that kind of unfolds. And we got RC Monster Cross. That's an event Fred's been going to the last several years, where they kind of race monster trucks, RC monster trucks, but in sort of a traditional off-road.
Where's this at?
So, actually,
see, Mayfield went with the all-white body on the truckie.
Yeah, night paint jobs.
Yep.
Trafford, Pennsylvania.
Must be out west. The places I never hear of in Pennsylvania is out west.
Yeah, that must be it then.
Trafford, Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
It is 191 miles away from me. And it is...
West.
Near Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Kind of figured.
It's right near all your favorite sports teams.
Yeah, right. So guess what? I will not be going to this.
All right, then. Thanks for your dedication, sir.
No problem.
Let's see.
Driving out to Punxsutawney for 3 hours. That was enough for me.
That was a 3-hour drive?
2:45. But yeah.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
I did a whole podcast on it. It's up.
You did?
Yep. Posted it 2 days ago.
Damn. I feel left out.
So if any listeners out there are thinking about going to Groundhog Day,
check out your podcast.
Yeah, and then decide from there. I did get sick right after, so.
Oh.
But that's what you guys normally. You guys go to these races and normally get sick afterwards, right? I mean, I know going to Motorama there was some kind of illness, afterwards, and so
it is pretty common.
Man, I just got over mine. I think I started feeling better on Sunday.
Okay.
So it was like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Yeah, I had one once when we went to visit Hobbyco. I had a cold once, and it's just there. We were there, and it's all the big wigs from Hobbyco you're meeting with, and I got the worst cold.
You're sneezing over everybody and coughing.
Well, just, it was just one of those where it got to the point where you're so stuffed up that it's like whatever that noise is, like
yeah.
And I was just like, gosh, this is so embarrassing.
They're like, man, that Jason dude, one weird cat.
He's got something wrong with him.
You're coughing into your hand and shaking hands.
Yeah. They're just like, no. Hey, bud.
Hey, we did have a question come in, and it was on I don't have it in front of me, but it was on the line of the coronavirus. How does it affect your business as far as dealing with China and stuff?
Yeah, it does affect it a little bit. We've had some vendors and employees not quite back yet but so far, it hasn't hurt us yet.
Hasn't delayed any shipments or anything?
No.
Good to hear.
Not to say that it still can't, but hopefully they're getting a kind of a handle on that.
Yeah.
So those are the events we got coming up. After Monster Cross is the Western Carpet Nationals, which is at 702 in Vegas. That's our kickoff race for the indoor series we do on carpet. So we kicked off the dirt one. We just talked about that, INS 10 in Missouri, and then this is our kickoff for the carpet. So this one should be stacked too. So that's that's really the next month's worth of events going. So, and then just the normal. We got to do work in between too. So,
what a shame.
People think you do this stuff, and it's just like,
yeah, you just go to race and have fun.
Yeah, all you do is go to these big races and race, but that's just a small portion of it.
All right, so it's February 27th. So what do we got coming out? Any new products shipping out this week or in the near future?
Yeah, like the stuff that we've shipped recently. We just released a new scale wheel today, which was the Colt 1.9-inch beadlock wheel. That we've been showing that for a while on different builds and stuff. That's been pretty popular. And then the Hotties tire. We've had that out for a while, but now we have a belted version. That's gonna be a good one.
This is available now, right?
Yep, Hotties belted. Those are available now. We got the Cheetah 83 millimeter speed run wheels, which doesn't seem like a big deal now, but when we have the tires that match, that come pre-mounted, that I think will be a big addition to the lineup.
1993 Ford F-250 monster truck body.
Yeah, that was right before that. That was a good one. Before that, the Tactic race wheels for street eliminator racing, big drag racing. Drag racing's been doing so well. Badger, the new Badger V2 body was before that for the Slash.
Wow, look at this thing. Sand rail for the Slash 2-wheel drive.
Yep.
And Slash 4x4 body. Wow. T3 authentic body. Look at that thing. That brings back memories, bro.
Yeah, we re-released some of these associated bodies.
I love that truck. Wow. Memories. Well, good stuff. All right, well, that was episode 204. Cruising along here.
Yeah, four down the new rabbit hole.
I don't count the ones I do in between, so.
Because then you did one with Kirby about something, and then you did one on.
It was a pre-Super Bowl, but then unfortunately the whole Kobe Bryant thing happened too.
Oh yeah, and then you did an episode on that.
Yep. Did 2 episodes on that actually. Did a follow up.
Wow.
And then also did the Groundhog Day episode.
Okay.
You can go listen to that and hear my journey to Punxsutawney, PA. Yeah.
I mean, I would have never even heard of that if it wasn't for the movie.
And that's why I said ever since I saw the movie in 93, I wanted to go to it and just kept putting it off and off. And finally, I'm like, you know what? We're going to go do it. So it's definitely a one-time thing. That's it. Once you do it, there's no reason to go back again. It's not saying it's bad. It's just like, why would, just cross off your list and that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
So. All right, Jason, you got anything else you want to add to episode 204?
Oh, we should probably give away some of those prizes.
Oh, would you bring from? You brought some stuff back from DNC.
Yeah. Two autographed Mayfield bodies. We got all three of his awards and a prototype wing.
Oh, good Lord! So we got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It is the end of the month, so I could give stuff away.
There you go. Let's do it.
All right, let me pull up my wheel here and make sure I have everybody's name in here. See if I got any new patrons, first of all. I got to check that first. Oh, actually, yes, I need to add 2 more people to the wheel.
Let's do it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for supporting the show. Appreciate that. Okay, let me just add these 2.
Okay. Yeah, so what we have Mayfield's. It's actually his body he raced last year in Truggy. At the Nitro Challenge and the Silver State, he ran the same body with the white paint job for the Truggy. That's his night body. He ran that at both of those races. So that's actually a winning body from last year. And then he autographed it for us. And then the buggy body, he ran that one. I just saw what was the number on it? I don't think it was a winning one. I'd have to look at it. I gotta look at it again.
All right, I think I'm ready. So give me a prize to give away.
All right, let's first do. I'm trying to determine what. Oh wow, the dirt number 2. Oh, he ran this body at the Buggy Land, the e-buggy body. He ran at the Buggy Land race. That was the end of 2019. And then a prototype J Concepts F2I wing. And then there's 3, a first, second, and a third place trophy. So let's just give away the third place first. We'll go, I think, from backwards to forwards here.
All right.
So we're giving away the third place 2020 Nitro Challenge Award.
All right, here we go. I'll spin the wheel. I got all the names added. And different tier levels. I have your name added more than once. There we go. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the sound effect here, but I don't think it's... let me turn my volume up on my laptop, see if it comes through here. No. All right, here we go. Spin. All right. The tent. That's what I have down for a name in here. You are the winner of the third place Ryan Mayfield trophy, you said?
That's right.
All right. I will contact the tent. All right. What else you got?
Second place trophy.
All right. And it's spinning. Chris Cherwin wins the second place trophy.
Yep. Mayfield's second place e-buggy from Nitro Challenge.
Chris Cherwin. Congratulations, bro. Thanks for the support. All right, so what else we got?
First place trophy. First place in Truggy.
All right. Nate Snyder. Nate Snyder wins the first place trophy.
Good job,
Awesome.
Nate.
All right, what's next?
Next is... Let's go to the prototype wing.
Okay, prototype wing. Here we go. Spinning. Drew Spurgeon.
Okay, cool.
Congratulations, Drew. And I will email you guys through the
there's still more stuff too.
Yeah, through Patreon. Whatever email you use for Patreon, I will message you through there, and you can just hook me up with your address, shipping address. That'd be great. And then when you get the prizes, take photos, please. Take photos with you in them. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
that's the goal. Those. Yeah, I like when you guys are in them. That way it proves that I gave this stuff away. I get photos of the prizes, but I could do that. You know what I mean? But if you're in there, it's better that way.
Okay, so now we're going to move into the next two, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got 2 more prizes, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, so the e-buggy body. We'll go with the e-buggy body. That'll be the next one. That's Mayfield ran that at the Buggy Land event.
And spin the wheel. Oh, man. Justin Jubert.
You guys have been battling hard with him over the Super Bowl. That was brutal.
I guess we kind of owe him something.
Yeah.
Because he got eliminated in the playoffs there. So Baltimore was supposed to win it, but didn't quite make it there. Justin was talking trash during the year because it looked like the Ravens were going to win it, but gone. All right, well, Justin Jubert, thanks for the support, buddy. He won. What Justin win again?
Hey, Mayfield 8-scale e-buggy body.
All right.
And the I would say the top prize is the Truggy body because it's a two-time. It's a winning body. So, well, it is a winning body. Maybe it's not 2-time, but it is a winning body.
All right, here we go. Andrew Morin.
All right, he wins the big prize.
Wins it. Thank you, everybody, for supporting the show over at patreon.com/Radio Impound. All right, that was it. Awesome prizes to give away there. Again, please, guys, take photos with the prizes, not just of the prizes.
That really helps.
Yeah, and then I'll post them on Facebook if you send them over in Messenger for me or whatever. And that'd be great. So, episode 204 in the books. And we look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode. Everybody, if you guys are racing out there, kick some ass, right? Make sure you're running J Concept stuff.
Yeah, those are kind of the two things that kind of go hand.
Yeah,
they go hand in hand. You know,
right? If you want to win, you need to have the tires, right? So, the bodies and accessories there, J Concepts.
Yeah, if you got one of those two things, you're gonna kick ass.
And if you need some help, those guys will always help you at the track. So, customer support, that's what they're all about over there at Team J Concepts. Team Ruona, I like to say.
Team Ruona, huh?
Yeah. All right, guys. Safe travels out there. Be safe. Got that virus floating around out there. I just got over mine. Jason was sick too a couple weeks ago, same time. And we did.
I was sick since after Motorama.
Motorama?
I'm sorry. Chili Bowl.
That's right. Chili Bowl. You got the Chili Bowl virus.
Yeah. What was funny is somebody at the Chili Bowl actually told me, I want to say somebody was like insinuating that, that's what it was. I was up watching the race with Scotty, and I think I had a little cough or something, and the guy goes, uh-oh.
Now you got me coughing again.
He's like, he goes, I know that cough. That's the Chili Bowl flu coming on.
Oh, did he really say Chili Bowl?
He said that. And I was like, there's nothing, that's not true. And that was the night that I ended up getting the flu. And then I had, turned into where I had that cough forever.
Yeah.
And it turned into a mess.
Yeah, it was an absolute mess. I mentioned, I went down to urgent care even, so.
Yeah, you said, I hate doing this, but I got to do it.
Yep.
felt like you were gonna die or something.
Yeah, I was telling you in the chat. I'm like, I think this is it, guys, for real.
Yeah.
I was in real bad shape, and the fever was unreal. But yeah,
Because we were talking about those memes that are out there that when you get to be a certain age and something starts hurting and you're like, oh, this is it. This is how I'm gonna go.
yeah, little, my elbow hurts. Oh man,
This is it.
Elbow
this is
cancer.
How I'm gonna go. This is how I'm gonna go.
That's what I thought was happening. Whew,
Could have
man,
been.
brutal, but I got through it, so feeling 100% better.
Well, it's that Mamba mentality.
That's right. Exactly. I think it came from Punxsutawney. It's Punxsutawney virus I got. That's what happened.
Yeah.
I talked about it on the pod.
Well, I got the chili bowl flu, and you got the Punxsutawney virus.
Punxsutawney.
You know what? I will say that yours sounds more serious though. Like just going by going by names.
That's true.
If you
Punxsutawney.
just said, if you go, man, Gotti's got the Punxsutawney virus. Everybody would just be like, oh man, I hope he's okay. If I said I got the chili bowl flu, everyone's like, oh yeah, I've had that before. That goes over in a day or two.
That does
Punxsutawney virus.
That's
Punxsutawney virus.
yeah, that sounds worse than the coronavirus. Oh,
Maybe that's the name for this podcast, the Punxsutawney virus. Either that or the RIP analytics or something like that.
Oh man! All right. On that note, we are out of here. Punxsutawney. Stay away from Punxsutawney.
Yeah, virus over there.